Hi there, and welcome to the second season of the Humans in AI podcast. In this podcast, we dive into the real-life stories of the top leaders and entrepreneurs within the artificial intelligence, high-performance computing and data center space. These people truly are at the top of their game. We have honest and authentic conversations with all our guests. We'll chat about their career journeys, the highs and the lows, and the lessons they've learned from the mistakes they've made, and the victories they've celebrated along the way. It's all about sharing their experiences and knowledge. We talk about the company they're currently in and how they see the future of the space. So if you're looking for practical advice from people who've walked the same path, or just a little inspiration, you're in the right place. We're going to be releasing new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you stay tuned. Hi there, Jerry. How are you doing? You all right?
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Very good, thanks. Very good. Certainly looking forward to the Christmas holidays now. So obviously it's in December now, so it'll be a little while before this comes out. But yeah, doing all right. You keeping busy?
Yeah, time flies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Almost over.
Indeed. Well, look, thanks very much for taking the time to have this chat today. For the benefit of all the audience, of the people that don't necessarily know you, are you able to do a quick introduction as to who you are and obviously where you're working now and your role within the organisations?
Sure, Nick. And thanks for the invite again. My name is Jerry Tang. I'm the founder of VCV, which is a venture capital fund based in New York City. We have invested in 4 or 5 companies in AI, in data center, digital infrastructure, and blockchain.
Fantastic. And you're CEO of a couple of those organizations then, aren't you? And then was on the board of others, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, I am a CEO of Tiger DC, which is an AI data center development company. And I'm CEO of Atlas Cloud, which is an AI cloud company.
Fantastic. Well, 2 very exciting organisations, which I'm certainly looking forward to talking about more as well. So taking it back to the beginning, obviously you come from an investment banking background by trade, so that you did that for about 15 odd years, didn't you, before you got into this space?
That was right. I was in a French investment bank named Natixis for 15 years.
Fantastic. And obviously you held lots of roles in that space, didn't you?
I had a lot of roles. That was my first job after college. I started as a CMBS trader. So I hedged the risk, managed their books of $2-3 billion. And I grew among ranks to eventually manage the U.S. real estate business.
So you started off and then moved into real estate investments there. And then how did that sort of taper through to bring you up to where you are today?
Yeah, so 2020, COVID hit. And I had some time to reflect on my career. Again, that was my first and only job. Mm-hmm. After a few months of very slow business environment and a lot of reflection, I thought, I really need to let my entrepreneurial spirit to run free. So I decided to exit the corporate world.
That must be completely different. Having done 15 years, first job out of college, obviously a lot of promotions, in that time, and obviously looking after different divisions. So clearly used to working in a high pressure environment, but that must have felt very different from going from that to complete startup, almost on your own, plus maybe 1 or 2 others.
Oh my God! It was a fun and wild ride. Back in the corporate world, you have a lot of infrastructure, including legal, HR, compliance, all these things that you don't really pay attention to until you come out and build out your own, management structure. You find out, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on. I was living in a bubble.
I can imagine. You do take it for granted, don't you? I certainly found it the same when I started this business. I had all this support, and all of a sudden I was learning how to do all these things myself because there was nobody else to ask. It is very, very different. So with what you were doing, I mean, obviously you decided, reflection with COVID and everything like that, stepping out of the corporate world. What was the actual plan? Obviously, you set up your own, fund. Was the plan just to invest in lots of interesting businesses, or was it always to build your own businesses as well?
Well, it was always building my own business. What's interesting is my family, my dad and his siblings, they all have their own businesses. So when I was working in the bank, my dad always encouraged me to come out. So he has been nagging all my ears for many, many years. I guess it's a sort of, just realizing that entrepreneurial aspiration after the many years. Right.
It's in the blood, clearly, if it's all the family are doing it as well. So,
I don't know if it's in the blood, but it's after all these nagging, it kind of it beats into yourself.
Well, no, indeed. So obviously you set up VCV, got a fund, you're going to build your own businesses. What made you getting into initially like the data center space? Because obviously I know you come from a real estate background, so I'm guessing you've obviously seen that, working in the investment banking.
Yeah, so it was by accident. There was a very large Bitcoin mining company called Core Scientific. When I was a banker, they came to me for financing. I spent quite a bit of time, underwriting the business, diligencing Core Scientific. I thought that Bitcoin was a scam, total scam. However, the CEO of Core Scientific was a very serious man. He used to be the COO of Walmart and Microsoft.
Oh, wow.
So, okay. And I was like, oh, this guy seems to know what he's doing. So I spent quite a bit of time there, and I read the white paper of Bitcoin. I read a few other Bitcoin books. I kind of bought into the value of Bitcoin. And
you're a smart man to trade in that. Then the price is very good today.
Yeah. And because I'm a real estate guy, so I thought maybe I should build a infrastructure real estate business to support the Bitcoin mining activities. So I went out, I found the power and the land, secured the financing and capital to build these mining facilities for Bitcoin mining companies. And
Fantastic.
That's how I got into data center. Yeah.
Wow. So what does the what do the assets look like now then? What's the environment like?
It's consuming a lot of power. So I'll give you an example. One Bitcoin mining machine is about a size of I want to say computer,
Yep.
a regular computer. It consumes a 3x of a very large air conditioner.
Wow.
Yeah.
A fair old bit. So you've got these sites then. Are they all in the US or are they in different locations? How does it work?
They are all in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, US is the biggest mining, I guess, center in the world. Right.
Absolutely. So you've got, and it's all for mining. So it's how many megawatts have we got under control at the moment? So is it 100 megawatts, 200 or 50? How does it sort of work?
So right now we have a 50 megawatts operational.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am shifting away from Bitcoin mining facility.
Okay.
I'm getting into AI.
Indeed.
Yeah. Right now we are going to break ground probably in a few weeks for a 100 megawatt AI data center in the US.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting. And I see, we see a lot of the mining organizations moving towards AI and separating themselves and moving away from that. And that makes sense. But breaking ground and building a 100 megawatt facility, that is only huge. And there's always going to be the demand for it as well.
Yeah, the demand is through the roof. As a data point, the vacancy rate is nearly zero in the US.
That's just crazy. Bless you. So, and once you've obviously got this data center up and running, so is the plan to very much, I suppose, house then Atlas within those data centers, I presume?
Part of it. Let me give you an example. 100 megawatts, that's what Elon Musk has been building in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. That equipment cost him about $5 billion. So I have high aspiration for Atlas Cloud. Now, Atlas Cloud is a AI GPU cloud company. We are not there yet. We don't have $5 billion ready to roll. So we'll set aside a part of the data center for Atlas Cloud, and then we'll give the space to a hyperscaler, for example, Google, for example, Meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured it would be either the hyperscalers or perhaps a large enterprise. So, and within that then, so that's like a co-location type sort of facility that you're offering for the hyperscalers. In terms of the strategy for the business, is it 100 megawatt data center, then look at the next one, or is it then really going towards Atlas?
Yeah, so we have honed our skills in the past 3-4 years, and in sourcing power and land. We have gotten really good at it. Personally, my undergraduate study was electrical engineering. So I know power really well, physically and also from market structure. I had gotten really good at, getting power and understanding power in the US. So the goal is to continue to develop AI data centers. Mm-hmm. My aspiration is to develop up to 1 gigawatts of data centers in the US.
That's massive. I mean, building that, and like you say, the demand there is, is constant. So I think, the fact is it's almost a sure thing, really, isn't it? You just got to worry about getting the power and the competition.
Yeah, this is the new oil and the gas industry. The only thing is that the oil is the intelligence coming out of the AI factories.
Yeah, absolutely. So then with the data centers, you've got them there, you've got that selling for the hyperscalers, perhaps some of the enterprises, primarily the hyperscalers. You're building Atlas Cloud at the same time, which is, HPC, AI business. I think very much around as it stands, I think NVIDIA is what you're working with. I think it's H100s today. Where do you see that business sort of going? And obviously the two of those organizations are going to work sort of in harmony together as well, I guess.
Yeah, so we're trying to fill a gap, in the market space. If you go to AWS, if you go to Microsoft, if you go to Google Cloud, they provide their own version of inference for AI or training tools for AI. Mm-hmm. However, they have a lot of baggage from the past. The tools they provide can be clunky and sort of slow-moving. They're still very, very innovative, have very smart people, but just as big organizations, it's hard for them to move fast and take advantage of the latest and greatest technology and talents. So our goal is to move fast and fill in the gap with very easy to use AI training, fine-tuning, and inference tools for the startups and for enterprises.
And that's a great space to be in. So again, with the startups and working with the hyperscalers, it's great, right? They promise the world with these startups that they get credits. It's everything's in the cloud, and then as they get bigger and bigger, it becomes more expensive, more difficult to use, and that's when they then look for what is maybe termed as the new neo clouds. So the startup ecosystem is probably one of the best ones to go after, as well as the enterprise.
Yeah, exactly. I think right now, Nick, there are probably 20, 30, 40 neo clouds out there. Mm-hmm. My belief is most of them, they don't have the right technical expertise in staff to provide the kind of services that the startups or enterprise are looking for. I'll give you an example. Most of them are only providing bare metal services. And as a startup, you don't want to spend your time, working on ML infrastructure, hardware, optimization, Kubernetes type of stuff. You want to be focused on building your applications. So we want to fill in that gap. There are several startups that is there already. For example, Together AI, for example, Fireworks. Not many.
I think you're right, and I think a lot of them are bare metal. I think the thing is you need to be understanding what the solutions are, isn't it? What's the customer needs? So how are you going to understand and get closer to the customers to work out what they want? Because a lot of people or a lot of organisations, particularly end users, they don't want to build their own AI solution. That they just want to pay for it. So it's working with those kind of partners as well as then having the infrastructure to host and support it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a such a cutting edge and new thing. A lot of the organizations they don't have time to learn all the new techniques, the new algorithms that's coming out. Every day there's new things coming out that's more efficient and more effective. So we are helping the client to bridge that gap. For example, recently we spoke to a very large hospital in the U.S. They have been trying to figure out how to maximize the GPU utilization rate. They were quite puzzled on all the various techniques they can use. And we came up with an inference engine solution for that, where they can have all the flexibility, but also the throughput that they need for their various internal consumers.
Wow, that's incredible. And so that's very much understanding, getting to the heart of what the problem is. So rather than just selling GPUs, bare metal services, you're literally looking at what the challenges are and then building a solution.
That's the only way that we can succeed, have a chance to succeed in this business.
And as you say, I think that's where a lot of the other neoclouds may well be falling short. I think that, and they're probably, a lot of them are going to swallow each other up and buy each other. I think that's the other thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, Nick, we got lucky. I hired a very, very good engineering team. I actually had them, the CTO himself had experience managing over 50,000 GPU clusters.
Wow.
And I had him interview people from the big hyperscalers like AWS, Microsoft, and they were all amazed by his knowledge and skills. He has been in cloud management for over 12 years.
There's not many people that can claim to have actually looked after 50,000 GPUs. It's there's only a few organisations in the US and in Asia that have probably done it. Certainly not many in Europe. That's one thing I was talking to a customer about the other day. So it's a fantastic thing to have that kind of skill set within your business. And I suppose that's obviously what we do here, at Asobi, which obviously sponsors the Humans and AI podcast. The talent in your organisation, without that, that's probably your business isn't going to go anywhere. So I guess you've already identified pretty quickly on that you need to get the right people in the organisation to help build your offerings.
You're exactly right, Nick. My company, Atlas Cloud, is who we hire.
Mm-hmm.
We want absolutely AAA players.
Yeah. So how do you go about identifying those then and actually putting them in the right position? Because the trouble is you have too many, A players, you don't get them working together. Equally, it's about motivating them, inspiring them. So how do you actually create a team that is in and sees the vision and is actually accountable?
First of all, Nick, I utilize your help to identify those talents first. And you guys are really good at it.
We're doing our best.
And once we identify them, we try to make sure whoever comes in will be complementary to what we already have. They add something to the team instead of just to have a repetitive, skill sets.
Absolutely. And I think, also working, it's not just that, but it's the entrepreneurial spirit, isn't it? Because again, as a startup going into scale up with lots of different projects, we need to find people that are versatile. You need people that are actually excited about the mission and like you say, can come into an environment where they're comfortable with the fact that actually they'll have to do a lot of things themselves. It's, that's the nature of it.
Exactly. We need somebody who is resourceful, somebody is a problem solver, somebody who has a lot of energy, because you need a lot of energy when you try to solve these problems.
Absolutely. And in terms of obviously the mission now, as you mentioned, this is a market where there are a lot of companies out there, 30, 40, some doing it really well. Others, missing a trick and harming themselves by not necessarily going up the application layer as you suggested. What's some of the biggest challenges that you see in 2025 in taking your business to the next sort of level? Is it around breaking ground and getting the data centers up and running? Is it around actually cash to actually develop these services, or is it talent, or all of the above?
I think it's a little bit of all of the above, Nick. For the Tiger DC, which is the AI data center development company, the main focus right now is breaking ground. And I think we are progressing really well. We have a very well-rounded out team, Google, Meta, and Digital Realty team members in team to make sure, we can execute well for our, tenants, clients. On Atlas Cloud side, the key is marketing, sales, plus, getting some top-notch PhDs and researchers. So we have an edge on the technology side.
Absolutely. I think that's so important. I mean, obviously that brain power with the PhDs, with the sales, and in terms of selling, it's an interesting thing, and you mentioned marketing, and marketing is actually probably where a lot of the businesses are going now. Some of the neo clouds, when we speak to them, that they talk about what they need, and actually sometimes what it is, it's brand awareness, and it's about actually getting companies aware of who you are, whether it be out on LinkedIn, whether it be out at events, and it's also about partnerships as well. So sometimes it's not always about direct selling, as important as that is. It's about building the brand in the marketplace and getting people aware of who you are. Is that something that you're going to be already been focusing on, or is that something that's going to be really important for you in 2025?
We already focused on that. We have a marketing person starting in a couple of weeks. He was from a AI company, existing AI company. So he's going to help us to put together the package to go out to the market.
Fantastic. So, and in terms of obviously that marketing, then, so a lot of within the events, are you also going to be doing that with partners as well?
Yes. Building important channel relationships is super important. We are signing a partnership agreement with some of the largest fast storage companies, for example, DDM, for example, BAST, to bring all that offering, in our under the fold of Atlas Cloud. We are now have a first-tier relationship, customer and enterprise and the distribution relation with Dell, HP, Lenovo, Supermicro, to ensure we have the lowest cost of hardware. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And I think that really does show the strength of your business to be able to associate it and create partnerships with those organizations. They don't partner with just anybody. So it's putting those together and creating an overall solution for customers. That's absolutely really, really exciting. Now, in terms of where you're going with next year, what's the goal? So the goal now is just bring customers into the data centers, or certainly into the HPC environment. Is it more GPUs? I mean, I think the other thing being is we're seeing a lot of customers now that have bought lots and lots of GPUs really high, and they're now starting to suffer with the hourly rate of H100s. How have you managed to navigate that sort of challenge?
So luckily, our exposure was not very high with H100, and we are actually working with some of these neo cloud companies to help them to monetize on their hardware. We provide serverless offerings. We can provide inference engines on top of their GPUs, so they can realize profit on these GPUs instead of letting them sitting idle.
Okay, fantastic. So you're sort of not necessarily completely decentralizing, but you're able to use those idle GPUs at different time zones and what have you, basically to keep them running, and that way you're not actually risking yourself to the cost.
Exactly. I think it's a win-win situation. Yeah.
It definitely is. I think that's just it. And I know of a few other organisations doing the same thing, and they're probably the ones that are actually far more, I suppose, in a more stable condition with different sort of, climate conditions as well, rather than having so many assets. It certainly is the way to move forward, really. So in terms of, obviously, next steps, you guys breaking ground, you're building your partnerships, you're bringing in new exciting talent. What would you say some of the biggest risks that you might sort of face in the current climate?
I would say 2025 would be a very interesting year to watch for AI. I think the text to video, the video models will become mainstream, and the demand for compute could potentially soar. In the second half of 2024, Nick, I think the demand sort of slacked a little bit for the H100s, as you alluded to. I think in 2025, the biggest risk is not securing enough supply to meet that soaring demand from the video models.
Absolutely. I think that was certainly a challenge for some of the people that I've been speaking to of late. So it's sometimes you've just got to commit and rather than waiting for the customers to come in, you actually sort of forecast ahead. So I see that with a few other organisations, particularly they're coming more around the AI sort of factory approach, which seems to be where you're sort of heading towards for sure.
Exactly.
So in terms of also then moving forward and other people doing similar things within the AI startup ecosystem. Now, obviously, as an entrepreneur who's gone through quite a period of change, still sort of pushing your way through it, what sort of advice would you be giving to some of these tech partners that are starting out their journey? I mean, you come from a banking background, investment background, and very commercial, but a lot of these CEOs, they're not necessarily like you. They could be actually engineers by trade themselves, and very good with code, but not built businesses. But they've got a great idea. What sort of advice would you give these kind of people that are literally building the next great startup?
I love talking to these engineering founders. And Nick, I actually have a engineering background in my education. I went to grad school at Columbia for engineering, so I can talk to them in their own language. And in the earlier part of my career, I did programming in C and C++.
Oh, really?
So I was probably one of the few bankers who did programming and became a tech entrepreneur.
You probably are. That's a curious set of skills to put all in together, which probably actually is equipping you very well to be successful now.
Yeah, and I would tell these fellow founders just to focus on unit economics, making sure that your business will stay profitable.
Cash is king at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, if you've got the money coming in, and I think that's the thing that obviously intimidates a lot of these founders, is they just understand the technology, but they don't necessarily know how to build an organisation. And I think that's where they really need help and advice with people like yourself, ultimately.
I'm more than willing. My door is open. More than willing to talk to these wonderful founders.
They could be your next set of partners within VCV, maybe. You never know.
Yes.
Well, look, this has been really exciting. I mean, I think the future for the organisation and what you guys are doing is nothing short of, inspiring. To be breaking ground, and obviously, getting that power, being able to plan for a 100 megawatt data center with ambition to go to a gigawatt, and building a HPC AI business as well. There's not many people doing just that. So it definitely puts you in a good place to service the industry in the marketplace, particularly as you've gone up the stack to applications. I can't wait to see what happens over the next 12 months. I think it's going to be extremely busy for you by the sounds of it.
Yes.
Well, look, it's been great. I can only invite you back in a year's time once we've seen what happens. So, we'll have to get you back there. But please do, keep in touch. Let me know what you're doing. Obviously, we'll help you with some hiring. But I'll have to invite you again in a year.
look forward to next. And thank you, Nick.
Great to have you. Been really enjoyable.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope you did as well. Jerry gave us a great insight into the challenges and opportunities in building AI infrastructure and the importance of understanding your customer needs and so much more. This episode was brought to you by Asobi. I'm the founder and managing director, and it's our mission to connect the very best talent with the most exciting scale-ups in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and the data center space. If you're looking for more practical advice or inspiration from those who've been there and done it, stick with us. We're releasing new episodes every week, so don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and follow Asobi on LinkedIn. You won't want to miss a thing. Thanks again, and see you next time.